So now we're going to be talking about Chapter 9. Now the standard for this is number 2. Explain essential characteristics of the political system of the United States, including the organization and function of political parties and the process of selecting political leaders. Now the objectives for this is discuss the political parties, analyze their leaders, and examine elections. So let's just talk a little bit about the two-party system. Political parties are people of common views that support a certain group of candidates. The two major political parties we have today are the Democrats and the Republicans. George Washington warned against this. He didn't believe there needed to be political parties because he believed it would divide Americans. And it really has. A lot of times people vote based on their political party and not on a lot of the issues. And a lot of people really get into it because of politics, because of the political parties. Usually the political party will try to nominate candidates that shares their same ideas. They're not going to want someone running for a Republican that's got Democrat ideas or a Democrat that's got Republican ideas. It defeats the purpose of having the party. So they're going to line up with someone that believes a lot of how they do. Now, it's not always going to be the same. Sometimes they're going to have a different of opinions, but it's going to be a lot of the same core values. Shortly after the foundation of the country, there was a division between Jefferson and Hamilton. This is the birth of the two-party system. Jefferson wanted the federal government to have limited power. This is what you call a small government idea. Hamilton wanted a large government or a strong central government because the idea behind it was Jefferson said, look, we don't want to have too many people we don't want to have another king, basically. And Hamilton said, look, we need a strong central government or we're going to collapse. So the Democrat Party was founded after the Jeffersonian group, which was the Democrat-Republic group, and split, making the Democrat Party and the Federalist Party. The Federalist Party would agree with a lot of the fiscal ideas of Hamilton, so they formed the Federalist Party. This will lead to the fall of the Federalist Party with the rise of the Democrat Party. The Federalist Party didn't really last. The Democrat Party would kind of take over the main part at that point. They would receive no competition until 1830, and in 1854, breakaway Democrats and Whigs that opposed slavery formed the Republican Party. The Democrat Party was the party of slavery pre-Civil War. The Republican Party opposed slavery. It replaced the Whig Party. And Abraham Lincoln was elected in 1860 as the first Republican president. So Abraham Lincoln was the first Republican president, and this is going to form the foundation for the Democrats and Republicans we have today as being the two major parties. Now, primary elections are done in a couple different ways. You have a direct primary where voters help pick the nominee, which is where you go and you vote for someone to run. Right now, where we have primaries when it comes to the state senate, that we've already had some primaries. We're going to have a runoff election, and that's kind of the idea. The local governments are doing the same thing. We had our primaries. Someone has runoff election, which just means that a couple of the candidates had really close votes, and they are going to run again, basically. In recent years, primaries have gotten very competitive. Most of the time, political parties pick the nominee that the voters vote for. The person that shows that has the most support is going to usually win the nominee or nomination. A closed primary, that's where only the people that are a part of that political party can vote in it. So if it's a closed primary, if you're voting on the Democrat side, Republicans can't vote on the Democrat side. Rules for how voters declare party affiliation differ by state. Now, an open primary, you don't have to be a member of the party to vote. You can vote for on any ballot. People who favor a closed primaries argue it keeps people from crossing over to vote. A lot of times they'll say, well, what about if a Democrat goes over and votes against, Trump or, whoever the main candidate is, to try and sabotage that person. And that's kind of the idea. The idea is, a Republican swapping over and trying to sabotage Democrat nominees or whatever. So a lot of primaries are open or closed, but they do have open ones as well. Plurality is the most votes among all who is running. The person gets the most votes. And a runoff, which I mentioned a minute ago, is a race between the top two vote getters. A petition is signed papers declaring support for an unaffiliated candidate. This is the way to get somebody in an election that doesn't really make it on the ballot to begin with. So, just kind of summing this up for a few minutes. The primary process, there's a few different things we were going through until Joe Biden became the Democrat candidate, we were going through a primary process here in the United States up until the whole coronavirus stuff started. And what you do is you go and vote to determine who you want the candidate to be. Remember when it started off, the Democrats had a lot of people, and now it's down just to Joe Biden because he's the one that's going to become the nominee. The Republican side, it was going to always be Donald Trump, no matter what, but they had a primary there too. You also get into the idea of a primary and a caucus. A caucus is where people go and they actually go and stand there voting for their candidate, and then they can swap different sides of their candidate and win, different things like that. A primary, you go in, it's like a regular election. You vote, you cast your ballot, you go on, they tally the votes, and determine who wins. So this is just a little bit about the voting process. Chapter 10 is also about the voting process, so we'll talk more about that in the next chapter. So just stick around for the next video.